Hi Aquarius, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol, and this is going to be a mid-month reading for July 2025. And in this reading in particular, I'm going to be looking at what pattern in your life is showing up right now for healing. And it's very important that we pay attention to things that are repeating in our life, whether it's the same types of people that are showing up and same relationship issues, the same type of situations. Maybe there's emotions that are coming up again and you're like, I thought I dealt with this before. Or maybe it's something that you just know something's coming up for healing and you don't want to deal with it and you push it down, it comes back up again. So we're going to look at what pattern is showing up for healing. And then we're going to look at what aspect from your shadow is driving this pattern. So this is your unconscious we're going to be looking at. And believe it or not, the unconscious is what's manifesting this pattern that's showing up for you. Because there's something that needs healing from childhood, from your adolescence, that's driving this and having the biggest impact on this pattern. And you need to heal it, and so that this pattern stops. And then finally, we're going to look at what advice does the tarot have for you to begin to heal this pattern, because this is a process. It's not, I don't have a magic cure for you, but I'll give you some advice. Well, the tarot will at the end, and maybe I'll add a few things in there for you. So let's begin. I'm going to be using the Ehrenberg Tarot, and then I'll clarify it with the Radiant Rider-Waite. So let's begin with the pattern that's showing up for you, Aquarius, in July, last part of July 2025. One card, please. You have the Five of Swords. What aspect from your shadow is driving this pattern? What aspect from your shadow is driving this pattern? One card for Aquarius. What's driving this Five of Swords over here? One card. One card. That last card came out so quickly. And now it's like, we're not ready to. What aspect? Oh, there we go. We got, let me see. Well, this came out last. I think I'll put it back since I have these two. So you have the Six of Cups in reverse. You have the Hangman in reverse. And how about some advice from the tarot? Justice. Okay, let's get some clarifiers for this. How about, tell me some more about the Five of Swords. A couple cards for the Five of Swords for Aquarius. Five of Swords. Oh, there's one. One more. Oh, there we go. Okay, you have the Nine of Cups and the Three of Swords. Wow. Two cards there, interesting cards too. Six of Cups and the Hangman. Can I have one? I'm going to ask for one clarifier for these two. And there I go. The Chariot in reverse. And a couple cards for Justice. That one did a flip. That was funny. I just let it do its thing. It was like flipped upside down and it's okay. The Hangman, and it's wanted to come in reverse. And Nine of Swords. All right. Let's begin with what pattern in your life is showing up for healing right now. You start off with the Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords is this. It's interesting. This deck takes like a snapshot of the Rider-Waite deck. And it's interesting that this card has, you know, this individual that's celebrating, and you can see this in the Rider-Waite deck where he's celebrating at the front of the card. It's like, I've won this battle, and he's got a grimace on his face. And yet there's this other hand, and I'm going to say it's not the same hand. It's almost like the hand of someone else. And so I see this card, it's my bullying card, because I always like to see it as, you know, that person right here is like, that's my sword, give it back to me, and trying to grab it, because it's that, I always like to look at this card as the, you know, the victim of the bully, right? So I call it my bullying card because it represents the emotion of what the victim feels, and it's shame. And so you start off here with a lot of shame that you're going to have to be dealing with in the end of July that's coming up for you. And shame is an emotion that's very shitty, and we don't talk about it because it's so shitty, but it's something, every single person on this planet has it, and it's not an emotion we are born with. It's something that people give us when we're younger, and they have shame and they're going to give it to us. And that's what bullies do, right? Bullies just shame their victims, and because they have so much of it themselves that they just need to give it to other people, because that's how they feel. And so shame is really it's a lot of unworthiness. And so you're dealing with the end of July, a lot of unworthiness about yourself, and just feeling shitty and feeling worthless. And I can see here that the Nine of Cups comes underneath it. And the Nine of Cups speaks about this individual who has decided after 9 cups, remember that there's 10 cups for a cycle here for the cups, right? For the pip cards. But after 9 cups, he's decided, no, I'm putting all my cups up there, all my emotions, right? Cups represents emotions. And I'm done feeling. I don't want to feel anymore. I've had enough. Like, this is enough. And I can see that maybe that's how you're going to be feeling, right? You have another shitload of unworthiness that's coming up for you again. And it's like, I've had enough. I'm done. I put that away. Because there's just so much pain that's sitting right here. There's more pain here. And 3 of Swords just represents pain. And it's coming up for you, but it's like, I don't want to look at this. I don't want to look at this. Because it's coming up again. And I know I've battled with shame all the time. Like, shame is something, depending on what you're working on, shame can come up. Shame is always part of our memories, our trauma. And it can come up over and over and over again. And so it's coming up here again for you to heal. And so what aspect from your shadow is driving this? And like I said, the unconscious is what manifests this. So where is this coming from? What needs to be healed in your childhood or your adolescence that would have made you, you know, feel a lot of shame? Because there's something that needs to heal here that's coming up for you. Well, you have the 6 of Cups in reverse, and the 6 of Cups speaks about an inner child of yours. The 6 of Cups is an inner child card. I have my pages are also inner child and my inner children, but the 6 of Cups is an inner child card, and it talks about this giving and receiving, where you have these children that are exchanging their cups. Right, you have one of the children here in the Rider-Waite deck that's smelling these beautiful flowers, but you know, this is in reverse for you, because I think as a younger child, there's a part of you that holds this unworthiness, and this is an unworthiness card as well, where it's kind of saying, you know, if whatever you put out there in the world, whatever you give is what you're going to receive. And so I think there's something here that has to do with, you know, this whole giving and receiving. And I've heard somebody say this once, and it's so true, that if you learn to only give in your life, you will not know how to receive. And if you only take in your life, you don't know how to give. And so we have to learn what it means to give in order to receive. And we have to receive in order what it means to give. And that makes so much sense. And that's what I'm seeing here for you in this Six of Cups card, this giving and receiving. And because it's not something that you learned when you were younger, and that's why it's buried here. And so there was probably in your childhood where, you know, you had people that took a lot, right? And so I think as a child you learned to, if people were always taking from you as a child, you didn't know how to receive. And so maybe there's something with learning how to receive that's coming up for you right here for healing. You have the Hangman behind it, and I think this Hangman speaks about, in an upright position, the Hangman speaks about somebody that's very comfortable in their skin. But this kind of clarifies this giving and receiving card here, because I think when you were younger it was an uncomfortable, you didn't feel comfortable in your skin for whatever reason. I'm gonna say because of this, where you didn't learn as a younger person to feel worthy enough, you didn't feel comfortable in your own skin. And so this is very much why you have this shame that's coming out right now for you to heal, because there's a lot of unworthiness when you were younger around that whole giving and receiving I talked about. And it's coming up here for some reason at the end of July. Maybe there's going to be a situation where you're going to be learning maybe and having to heal this. The Chariot card comes underneath as a final clarification, and the Chariot card speaks about in an upright position. It's a card that talks about the inner journey, going inwards. Now, this is your shadow, and so I can see here that as a child, you would have been like, when this card comes out normally when it's not in the shadow, it talks about us using our willpower alone, our mind, right? And having to use our mind to control things. And then because it's in reverse, as a young child, it tells me that you were not able to, though you would have tried, but you were not able to control any of this that happened to you. And so it's almost like an explanation for you, this whole situation here that's saying you had no control. As an adult, we try to control things, but as a child you could not control anything in your childhood that happened to you. And I'm saying this, and the tarot is saying it to you, that this is what's sitting in your shadow, is that you had no control over what happened to you when you were younger. But because of what happened, you carrying a lot of shame around it. And I think at the end of this July, you're going to be having to work through some of that feeling of shame, because you probably have carried all your life this feeling of blame. And I'm here to say that you couldn't control this, and I will even say that will be my title. I think you couldn't control this. You had no control over this. And so what advice does the tarot have for you to begin to heal this pattern, to begin to heal all this shame? Well, I think it's time that you brought justice to this. And maybe there's a particular situation that you're thinking about, that you're involved with right now. And maybe there's something, maybe you want to tell people something, but whatever it is, it's time to bring justice to this situation, right? Because if you felt like you've been blamed and all your life, or shamed because you've been carrying this, thinking it was your fault, and now it's like, no, you couldn't control this. You had no control over it. And that's what you need to realize. And it's time now to bring justice to the situation. The Hangman comes out again. And it's interesting because it's coming out from your shadow. And here it is again. The advice from the tarot is, well, here you are feeling kind of like an out of body, you know, not feeling yourself, not feeling comfortable in yourself. And the universe says, well, it's time now that you turn this around, right? It's time for you to work on feeling comfortable being you, feeling comfortable being you. And the Knight of Swords comes right behind it. And Nine of Swords speaks about this individual that's waking up at night and having all these thoughts. And it could be, you know, you could be somebody that has trouble going to sleep at night, has trouble, maybe you wake up in the middle of the night, you have when you wake up too early in the morning. But this card represents for me, because the swords represent our mental thoughts. And so often when this card comes up, it means that there are memories maybe around this that you need to become aware of. And it also can mean, and I'm just hearing it as well, is that, you know, pay attention to your dreams. What's keeping you up at night? What wakes you up? Your nightmares. You know, maybe this end of July, the last part of July, I have my phone next to me, and so when I wake up in the middle, if something wakes me up, or if I have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and I just came out of a dream, I will write it down on my phone. And then I start to look at the themes or the patterns that show up in the dream itself. You know, what emotion did I feel in this dream, and then this one, and maybe it's telling me something. And so maybe you need to pay attention to your dreams. But it's time now that we're going to start to bring justice to the situation and feel some of the shame. And, you know, remember that, you know what, you had no control over this. And so, Aquarius, I want you to have compassion for what you're working through the end of July. I'm going to leave your July 2025 reading I did for you. And I want you to know this is the most difficult journey of your life, but it's the most important one. So take care, and I'll talk to you in August. Bye-bye.